You're listening to the Greening Out podcast. This show contains profanity, hate for the state, and themes of a libertarian nature. If you are easily offended, please listen to something else. For more, visit greeningoutpodcast.co.uk. Hi, I'm Caity Green.
Hi, I'm Dan Green. Welcome back to the Greening Out podcast.
Welcome back to the Greening Out podcast. So, it is January.
It is.
It is dark.
Well observed.
Well, thank you, sir. It's dark outside for anybody else who may not be in Glasgow. It's pretty icy here. It's pretty depressing. And yesterday,
and
was apparently
people tuning in at this podcast for leisure, and I'm depressed.
I know, but I feel it's important to talk about these types of things and to acknowledge the fact that yesterday was the most depressing day of the year.
Was it? Officially?
Evidently. Apparently. The newspaper told me it has to be true.
It has to be true.
It has to be true.
If the newspaper, was that the free newspaper you get in the bus?
That's the free one I get on the bus.
Aye, so it must be true.
It must be good. But no, I just want to say as well, so I for one felt like shite. I don't know about you, Dan. How did you feel the most depressing day of the year?
I was a little down.
A little bit down, a little bit shit. No, I'm struggling through some kind of allergy right now, so I just want to apologise. I'm going to be sniffing and coughing through this, so.
But then people should respect your fortitude because you're podcasting through the pain.
Don't tell people what they should do. It's coercive. Dan. You should really.
Don't tell me what to do.
Don't tell me what to do. Right. So, I'm looking at my notes, and I know that you were looking at my notes as well, and I've just got written moonshite.
Moonshite.
What does moonshite mean?
Right. I watched this documentary one day when you were out on Netflix because you just weren't even going to entertain it.
Nah.
Right, and basically what they were doing is they were making the case that there are secret structures on the moon. Possibly alien structures on the moon. Now, see, when I read the synopsis, I thought that's quite interesting, actually. You know, I would love to see this evidence. And, well, do you know what? Let me make this kind of, right. So they start out by basically saying, they make out that it's going to be like a sort of objective investigation.
Of course.
Right. And then they just go full on, well, in my opinion, batshit crazy.
Yeah.
Because there's all these grainy photos, right? And it could be anything, man. It could be absolutely anything. And they say things like, well, that clearly looks like a nuclear power plant. Like, what?
I remember I walked in, when I got home, you were not quite done with this documentary, and I walked in and they were trying to say that something was the size of the Empire State Building or something. Yeah. But there was no evidence to back this up. But that led us to talking about documentaries and, like, what constitutes a documentary? I mean, this thing was nuts. Tell our gentle viewers what you were telling me earlier about it.
Well, they'd one woman on who I'm quite sure she was like some kind of scientist, and she would say something like...
Some kind of scientist.
No, an actual scientist, because everyone else that was on was called a lunar researcher, which means person that looks at pictures of the moon all day.
Unemployed. That's what that means.
But, which brings up another point, right? Because see these so-called lunar researchers, right? A lot, like, some of them had written books. So it begs the question, do they really believe this stuff? Or are they just trying to sell books?
Is it a job opportunity?
But see, the scientist woman, she would maybe say something like, well, this is probably just, a crater, something's hit at an asteroid or something, and it's all this stuff's falling on each other and that.
The logical explanation,
and,
yes.
And then, like, the narrator would go, but most experts aren't convinced. Here's this guy to tell you why she's wrong. They don't exactly say it like that, but that's kind of the insinuation you get from it. Do you know what I mean?
There's a lot of these documentaries, and a lot of them actually come from, like, the History Channel and the Discovery Channel and stuff, where they're quite unfounded. I mean, there's not...
like ancient aliens and stuff.
Like, they're very much sort of, you throw enough shite at a wall, some of it's going to stick. In other words, you know, if you throw around enough theories, something's bound to be coincidental or kind of look that way, but...
The thing is, I mean, if you look hard enough, you'll find anything.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
You will find absolutely anything. And the thing is, they were using phrases in this, like, architectural marvels. And these pictures are just, you can see them yourself online. They're just like pictures with wee dark bits. And I'll tell you something else. They had Buzz Aldrin on it, right?
Yeah.
And he didn't want to look at the pictures, right? And they were trying to make out that he's hiding something, right? But we'll see when he actually spoke about it. This is Buzz Aldrin, right? Second man to walk on the moon. He said, look, listen, there's people that specialize in this kind of stuff, that analyze photos, and I'm not one of them. I'm an astronaut. That's not what I do. So I'm not going to speculate about these things. I don't know what that is. Right. And then, so I was thinking to myself, see if everyone else on this program had actually done what he did. Do you know what I mean? And actually thought, I'm not an expert in this.
There would have been no program.
There's just so much, there's so much reaching in it, because like, it's like they see something that looks kind of cylindrical and then they start saying, well, this pipe, obviously, we don't know it's a pipe, right? You're just making that up. And you get it all the time, and it's so, it just does my head in, because there's no real rigor in it. Do you know what I mean? It's just
shite.
One of the guys actually said, they are up there and they are planning something.
Oh,
like, what?
That's very ominous.
What are they planning? Do you know what I mean?
Why
Who's
would they
they?
bother?
Who are these aliens?
Why would they want to come here?
I'm going to look really stupid when the aliens invade us from their secret moon base.
Absolute fanny.
I'm going to look terrible.
When that happens. So we've covered depression and the moon. For anybody that doesn't know, we are a libertarian-based podcast.
We are. But then this is what kind of interests me, because you do get some like kind of libertarian people who are quite into the conspiracy stuff, and then you get other ones who really, really hate it. And I'm sort of somewhere in the middle, because I've seen decent evidence that certain things don't add up. But I don't believe in, like, you know, lizards rule the world and stuff like this, you know.
There was a story recently of a guy that killed his mother.
Speaking of the paper.
Speaking of that free paper I get.
On the bus.
Basically this guy, I think in England, killed his mum and sliced her open because he was so sure that she was a reptile.
That was a really, really
Quite
weird one.
strange.
But see, that's the thing, right? And I want to make this point. Blaming David Icke for that would just be stupid.
Who was?
No,
I didn't go there.
I'm just saying, I've seen one or two things online of people saying, this is because of David Icke. It's not. I mean, you can't blame him for that. It's like blaming, you know, music for killing people. And, like, you know, like after, like, Columbine, people were blaming Marilyn Manson, and then people
horrible.
blame, like, computer games, you know, for violence and stuff. I mean, I've played violent computer games before. Now I think they're a waste of time, but when I used to play them, I never went out, you know, and killed anyone.
I know, exactly.
You know, so you can't blame stuff like that.
That's a big thing now, though. People blaming culture, like modern culture, for a lot of
but then
things that are going wrong.
Modern culture does have some things to answer for. If you know what I mean.
What does it have to answer for?
I just mean, see, like, for example, now we watch TV shows, and we've talked about this quite a bit on the show, and we can see wee messages that are put in. You see, you know, just a wee thing here or there.
We were watching some stuff recently, and it did
and you can see these wee messages they put in. So, like, modern, like, if you're talking, depends how we're defining culture, obviously, but if we're talking about media,
like,
if we're talking about media, then I think it's got something to answer for there. Definitely.
Speaking of media, Deirdre Barlow is no longer with us. I just feel that that's something
you want to mention that.
I wanted to say that.
If anyone doesn't know, she was a long-running character in an awful British sitcom, soap opera.
It wasn't awful. I used to watch it.
It
has
at one
place
point
in my heart. But she passed away, and I thought it was sad.
I was devastated.
Obviously.
I still am.
Let's move on.
But, so, like, again, in this moon thing, what I think annoyed me more was just the sheer lack of real evidence. I mean, like, for example, and we'll get to the fear-mongering too, but, like, they took some images to an expert, right? Who wasn't one of these guys, and he was like, well, I can't explain what that is. And then they're basically going, see? Aliens. So, you know, it doesn't follow. Just because he can't explain what it is doesn't mean it's aliens.
It's basically that South Park episode where they're watching the thing about the I can't really remember the exact show. I'll try and link it up at the bottom of the show notes, but they're basically saying because there was no evidence that there weren't any aliens at the, what was it?
Yeah.
At the first Thanksgiving.
Yeah. So how do you know?
How do you know they weren't there? It's like, oh, for God's sake.
You know, and I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if some people genuinely believe this or some people really want to believe this because it's kind of exciting. I mean,
I don't think it's really that exciting.
let me tell you where I am on aliens, right?
Okay.
Right? Because I know everyone's dying to know where I stand on
Everybody's
the alien
on the
issue.
edge of their seat waiting for you to say, go.
Okay. I think because we don't know how big the universe is, it could be infinite. There's probably life somewhere in some form, of course, right? I'm skeptical of the aliens and Earth thing. You know, I'd put it this way. I also don't doubt that there's probably a secret space program that, you know, we don't know about.
Take that tinfoil hat off, Dan.
That wouldn't surprise
What have I
me.
told you?
See, if I've got no evidence, so unlike the people on that documentary, I'm not going to sit here and claim there's a secret space program. I'm just saying if there was, I wouldn't be surprised.
It's like this whole thing with there's a royal who's been pulled up for some kind of alleged underage sex thing, and everybody's like, oh, this is shocking, and this is awful, and this is terrible. And I feel like going, well, if you look at the royal sort of lineage and, the history.
Even just royals all over the world, off with their head and shit.
Pretty fucked up bunch. So I'll be honest with you, the idea that a prince had sex with a 17-year-old girl in America, it doesn't shock me, and I don't really care. Is that terrible to say that? I just don't care.
No, well,
it's all over the news as if it's like this big.
It doesn't surprise me. What bothers me is no doubt they'll find a way to worm out of it like they always do.
I know.
Yeah, I mean, we enjoy royal bashing on this show.
The royal bashing is welcome.
Yep, absolutely. And see, another thing. I just can't leave this documentary just now.
Another thing.
Partially it's the words as well, because again, these pictures that show basically nothing.
Yeah, absolutely nothing.
Yeah, they just show grainy nonsense, and then they go, in these visually stunning images.
I actually thought it was a sonogram. I walked in and I was like, why are you watching sonograms, like unborn children on TV? And you were like, no, that's the moon. I was like,
And I want to make this clear as well. I'm not saying like that, there's this kind of thing people talk about, a kind of scientific dictatorship.
Is this just in case the newspapers quote you wrongly?
As they always do.
They always do.
Always.
Oh,
but, like, some people talk about a scientific dictatorship, or we'll just believe anything these scientists tell us because, there's certain things we have questions about. But again, I don't know. I'm not a scientist, so that's why I'm not trying to. I mean, I've got questions about the global warming thing, right? But I don't know because I'm not a scientist.
My initial response to global warming stuff is that it's a distraction, but then I'm not a scientist as well, so I really can't say yes or no on that one.
And see, just to see if we go to the language as well. Not only did they use the phrase visually stunning, they also used the term for these grainy pictures that look like nothing, architectural marvels.
Ooh, I think you said that before. That's quite funny.
Architectural marvels, like what?
You really have to see it to believe it. We will link it up.
Yeah,
it's on Netflix or something.
It is on Netflix. It was just, I did not enjoy it. Obviously, conspiracies have happened throughout history.
Be careful with your words though, Dan. What do you mean conspiracies have happened? Like things have happened that have been covered up.
Yeah, but a conspiracy is basically just one or more people getting together to plot something, that happens all the time.
Fair enough, yeah.
And this looks like a distraction for me. Look, unless there is an alien base up there, right?
Way up there somewhere.
Yeah, that we can actually see with like turrets and stuff.
I'm scared of where you're going with this. Continue.
No, then I'm not worrying about it. One of those guys said.
I don't think anybody really is.
He said this is a bigger threat than the Cuban Missile Crisis was.
You know what I mean?
No,
you're all right.
Really?
I'm not going to lose any sleep over it.
Words fail me sometimes when I watch things like this because
I know.
There's just there's no real. Somebody spent a lot of money making this film.
Well, that's one of the more upsetting things, the wastage.
And I wonder why. But the thing is, it seemed like a lot of fear spreading to me and kind of unnecessary fear spreading. But we get that all the time in the mainstream media now as well.
That's all the media is.
Well, let's mention this. Remember we watched there was a programme on British television called, what was it, Angry, White and Proud.
Oh, Christ. Yeah, this was awful. That was, ugh.
And what it did was it followed like a bunch of sort of, I don't know what you want to call them.
They were kind of,
They were like people who were, some of them were in the English Defence League before
basically racist.
Basically sort of their skinhead types, you know, like.
I don't really want to be too kind of, it's difficult when you're talking about this kind of stuff because
there was different groups involved.
In a way you don't want to offend anybody, but also in a way you want to convey exactly who these people are. And I would say it's really people, like you said, who wear the EDL.
Yeah, that's the English Defence League.
They've now disbanded.
Yeah, and their main thing, as they say, was they're against the Islamification of Britain. Is what they say. I
don't know where that's happening. I can't see it anywhere, but apparently, some people do.
I mean, there's obviously, you know, like big Muslim areas and stuff like that, but
especially, I mean, Glasgow, we've got a lot of Muslim people here.
I don't see it overshrouding the entire nation anytime soon, you know, like, because the media has been hyping up recently, see, ever since this Charlie Hebdo stuff,
I know.
It has been hyping up. I mean, like, there's all these stories now about how Jews aren't safe in Europe and how Muslims are going to target this rally and that rally. And then you have these anti-Islamization rallies in Germany. And it's just every time I look at the news, there's more fear.
This show was a perfect example of it because this show aired shortly after the Charlie Hebdo thing happened.
Was it afterwards,
I'm quite sure it was, Dan. I can double check the date though. But I'm quite sure because you and I put it on and we were like, oh, well, what is this? It was trending on Twitter and we were like, we have to kind of watch it just to see what it is.
What all this is about.
But oh my God, but it really showed you that there are some people and it's pure ignorance.
Yeah.
It's purely that they're just not informed.
Yeah, exactly. And what we were talking about, like we were saying, I don't know how I would describe these people because they kept referring to them as like right-wing and right-wing extremists.
That's what really got me. The thing that happened was they kept saying right-wing and I'm saying it was the narrator, whoever was narrating it.
It was that bloody left-wing narrator.
Oh, bloody lefty narrator. No, I don't want to speculate, but what I will say is, in the course of the documentary, if you can call it a documentary, that's giving it big
I would say it
props.
was a documentary, yeah.
Okay. During the documentary, they were kind of showing you, these people doing protest rallies and so on and so forth. But yeah, they kept using the words right wing. And that really just, I was hyper aware of it after I heard it for the first time. But there are groups, for example, ANTIFA, the anti-fascists, quite a far left wing group.
Yeah, if we're using their same terminology.
If we're going to use the left right, you know, words. If we're gonna talk like that. You know, there are lefty groups that are, just as violent.
Oh yeah, but maybe there is a documentary out there like this, but see this documentary, I've seen ones like it before on British TV. I've seen a few like it, but I haven't seen one. Maybe one's out there, so I don't, please correct me, but I haven't seen a documentary exposing like how violent the Antifa people are. I mean, it kind of showed them a little bit in that, but not really. But see, the other thing about this right-wing language that they kept using, again, we're not left or right-wing, we're libertarian, we are,
just to make that
beyond left and right-wing.
I don't really use labels like that. I sound like such a douche.
But then libertarian's a label, but... But basically, I think if you're saying right-wing, I think it's not the right term at all to describe them. It conjures
up. We were talking about this. We talked to Bill Bupert recently.
From zerogov.com.
Yeah, from zerogov.com. And we were talking to him about words and how words are important. Of course they are. But what I mean by that is, like, we were talking about, for example, the word revolution and what it means. It's thrown around quite a lot. It means
to go around.
To go around in a circle, basically, to revolve. Yeah. But when you use stuff like right wing, it's little seeds that you plant in people's minds. And maybe when, for example, somebody hears the term libertarian, they might associate that with right wing.
Could, yeah, I see what you mean.
Do you not think that in the UK especially, I mean, you and I were talking about this earlier, how in the UK there's a very much a sort of socialist feel?
Oh, really?
Really? No, never.
But yeah, I know what you mean. Everything seems to have a sort of leftist slant to it. And the only actually, right, see again, like I said, I don't think right wing's the right term, because I think if you're talking about someone in if you're saying right wing, I'm thinking of like a person who's like
incredibly conservative.
Yeah, like a conservative person, right?
Yeah.
And that goes with a lot of other stuff. That goes with economic ideas and ideas about values and things like that, you know. And I know a lot of people who would describe themselves as right wing who are not racist, you know. So then to just say, these
far right groups. And all
to
this.
keep putting the right thing in there is kind of strange. And there was only one point, I think, in the documentary where they kind of mentioned it. They said, like, there's no complex political ideology that links them together. It's just like a sort of mutual hatred sort of thing.
Yeah.
So they did acknowledge that, fair enough. But they didn't really, I don't remember them. I could be wrong, but I don't remember them, like, calling Antifa, like,
a far left extremist.
But they might have. I don't really remember. But
I don't know. It might be something. I mean, I would always encourage people to watch these things.
And wasn't it hilarious when, right, these guys are going, so these guys who are like these total sort of white nationalists, let's call them that, right?
Kind of, yeah.
Kind of. Maybe that's not what they call themselves. I'm just using that as a loose term, right? So people can understand what we're talking about. So they're on their way to a protest and the police are trying to get them, like, sort of usher them into the protest, right? And who do they send? First they send the black policeman, and then they send the Asian policeman.
But see, now this is
what?
This allows me now. You've given me a good segue to my next tinfoil hat moment.
Yeah.
I turned to Dan halfway through this, and I went, "I don't think this is real." And Dan just went, "You don't think any documentaries on British TV are real?"
She really doesn't. She doesn't believe
no, but like, real. It just. I don't know. I mean, if it is real, I'm kind of horrified.
It is
but
real.
If it's not real, then it just seems like clever propaganda. But
it's obvious. Well, it can be real and propaganda at the same time. Well, I think I wouldn't be surprised if they sent over, you know, like, for example, the black policeman and that on purpose.
That's what I'm saying.
To make like better telly.
For TV purposes.
That wouldn't surprise me. And let's just make clear here, just in case we're misrepresented, we are not racist in any way, and we don't support this kind of thing.
No.
We're just merely talking about it.
We're just observing it because it was trending on Twitter and we thought, let's have a look at this. And I was just interested because the title, Angry, White and Proud, I was just like, what the fuck is this?
What is it you call it? You call all these shows something porn?
Well, poverty porn, like see Benefit Street, Skin, things like that.
For anyone who doesn't know what we're talking about, there's been a whole raft of shows on British television, and
we don't have them up.
Yeah, we don't have broadcast TV, so we just kind of streamed things now and again from the internet. And they are basically what you would call poverty porn. You know, they're like people who are sponging off the state, largely.
Can I explain this?
But I just want to make a point here.
Right.
And then what they do is, like, they obviously find the most interesting people possible because it's television, right?
Yes.
But what surprises me then about this is they have all these debates about it and stuff, you know, like all these people living off welfare. This is shocking. We shouldn't have these people living off welfare. But nothing happens about it. Welfare marches on.
Because the welfare state is much, much better for the people in charge than not having a welfare state.
But you're right. But the point you made as well, which was interesting, was take the flip side of that. Because while someone like me, like a libertarian who doesn't think government welfare is the best way to help people, I think private charity is a much better way to help people.
Yeah.
But like someone like me, so I would say, why aren't more people raging about this? You know, why aren't they angry that that's what your money's getting spent on? But then you brought up the point that on the left-wing side, people who support the welfare state, they don't see it the way I see it at all.
Basically, a lot of people, and I've heard this, the term poverty porn, I didn't come up with that. I read that on like someone's Facebook page. And I'm quite sure that the person I read it off, I think they do identify as quite left wing. They are a fan of the welfare state. And they were calling it poverty porn. So you got a lot of people who were raging that these people were being exploited in such a way.
In air quotes.
So you had these two sides. So you then had an entire group of people going, I don't like this. I don't think this is what our tax money should be spent on. And you had an entirely other group saying, this is terrible. You're showing the the minority of the people that get these benefits, and this isn't what usually goes on, and how dare you
them in a light and all
so
this kind of thing.
You can't really, nobody's right, and people will argue back and forth.
I would argue
and while
the time
people,
right always.
always. But you will find that people, we have shows in the UK that are like kind of panel forums, where you can go with big questions and you can talk about these things till you're blue in the face. Nothing gets done. People just talk about it. And while people are talking about it amongst themselves, a lot of bills get passed through and a lot of things happen that we don't know about because we're all busy talking about poverty porn.
Yeah, because a lot of it does seem like a distraction, you know.
Yeah.
Aliens on the moon is a more extreme distraction.
Oh yes.
But like the poverty porn thing, I know what you mean. It is kind of like, it is a distraction because we get people talk. I mean, there is real issues involved, but I think a lot of the time the issues end up getting missed because then it's like you get one of these shows and we kind of know who I'm talking about here. You get one, but it's happened with more than one. You get one of these shows and there's someone on it who the TV loves, who's like either quite funny or a bit nuts or something. And then what happens? They end up becoming a mini celebrity for a while in their own right. They end up getting involved in all these, invited onto TV shows and magazine articles and stuff like that.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden we've lost the point, you know, because I've said this before and I will say it again. We can go back to Bastiat and the book, The Law, when when he basically makes the argument, and I'm paraphrasing, how is it fair if I make money, right? If I make money and I create wealth, why is it fair to take that away from me and give it to someone who doesn't? Now, we're not talking about people who are really, really ill and like disabled and stuff like that. We're not talking about that.
People always go, "Oh, you're just so mean." I go, "Hold on a minute.
That's not what we're talking about.
I am not talking about people that are ill who literally cannot.
Or who are like severely disabled, you know.
That's what I would mean. I mean like someone who is incapacitated to the point where they cannot create wealth. They cannot go out and work. And I don't really want to get too much into it because it's such a sore subject.
See, I happen to think with a lot of other people that
I'm talking about people that are taking the piss. And if nobody believes me, please believe me when I say I work in a job where I see a lot of people who do take the piss, and I'm going to come right out and say it.
Oh yeah, I've seen it as well. I've seen it for years.
I'm dropping the mic. Don't even care.
I've seen it for years, you know, like people who basically, now we have this kind of culture of people who just don't want to work.
It's a culture of entitlement.
Exactly.
That's what I call it. A culture of entitlement. It's basically, it's interesting though, because I've said it on the show before, I'm sure, we're now coming into a time where an entire generation of people who have never worked a day in their life are needing retirement.
That's scary, man.
And state pensions will be going out for these people.
You mean like, but not in the same way? Because obviously people would never worked before, but like, you mean like it's
the
a
NHS,
whole...
and plus, I mean, the NHS and things like this.
That's the National Health Service.
The National Health Service that we have, it was only... your
quote-unquote free socialist
free.
healthcare.
It's free. It's not free.
It's free for people who don't pay tax.
It was only... what's the word I'm looking for? It was only founded in the 40s. It was after the war.
Yeah, so we talked about this.
Yeah, I mean it was a necessary thing at the time. A lot of people were quite down right after World War II. People didn't, you know.
And even then it was completely different because there's been changes and modifications over the years.
But we live in a country where Alex Salmond wanted to write it into a constitution. It's just it's such an idea. It's just such an idea that people...
It took hold in a really big way.
Yeah.
It really has. It's because people can't imagine in this country what it would be like without. Because they've never experienced it.
I've often said that the National Health Service, welfare state, things like this, in theory, they sound fantastic.
Sounds nice.
Sounds nice to be taken care of. It does. Absolutely does, but they're not sustainable.
Exactly.
And I think we can kind of see that, you know, every year these budgets, they're getting cut and cut and cut. And I just wonder, like something will give at some point.
Hopefully.
Am I using a slippery slope argument?
Oh, you might be.
Oh no. I don't like doing that.
Yeah, but...
It just concerns me.
Yeah.
That's all.
No, but I get it. And it's like this, I really think this whole distraction thing in the media is just... I mean, there was another, these come out now and again, these articles periodically, and there was one that came out, it was about two people who, it was like a mother and a daughter, and combined they weighed like 43 stone, and they said they would rather be fat and on benefits than thin and not work and all this kind of thing. But like,
rather than be thin and work, rather.
What's the agenda behind these stories, right?
Is it not just to make us mad? It's just to sort of rile us up.
Well, like we said, it doesn't make some people mad. It turns some people the complete other way.
I know.
Which is, and then...
Can I just point something out as well? I'm fat as fuck. And I work full time. I'm leaving that in.
Fair enough.
I work full time. It's tough.
Well, that's the thing.
But being fat, there was something on as well. I think it was the same kind of program. Again, poverty porn. And it was these people that were claiming that they were too big to work. They were too fat to be out there working.
Right. And
I just think that's a cop-out.
Of course it is.
I just think it's going, what can I use in my life to say why I'm not doing this? And I'm fat. Perfect. Homer Simpson did that. He got so fat that he became disabled.
Well, that is true, actually.
And he wore a muumuu and he worked from home.
Yeah.
But he worked from home, so that's what I'll say to these people. Too fat to work. There's chat lines you could do,
I see with stuff like this as well. Sometimes I wonder if it's like a slow news day. Sometimes,
Do you know, that's probably a good point, yeah.
Because it's like, how many times you see all the time in this country, leading up to winter when it's a slow news day, you get these papers and they're like, scientists say worst winter for 100 years, blizzards to batter the UK and all this, and then it never happens. How many times have you seen that?
I know.
Private Eye.
I thought it was quite funny today. I thought it was quite funny today how the front page of that free paper I get on the bus, the front page was that woman who played Deirdre Barlow died.
Mm-hmm. How is that front page news?
That's the front page of a paper.
Everything that's going on just now.
In the world. Yeah. I mean, we're living in some crazy times.
Yeah, absolutely.
every generation says that.
Yeah, but there's a lot of stuff going on.
There's a lot of protests happening all over the world. There's some scary stuff going on, and I just wonder why that was front page.
And it's interesting to see what stories get play and what don't. And again, it's how you slant things, because I mean, you could say we put a slant on things.
Of course we do. We put a wee libertarian slant sometimes. Well, we do try.
Yeah.
And the reason why I'm talking about these things that are in the paper, I encourage people to think about why they're seeing what they're seeing on the page in front of them.
Yeah.
When you see a story, just think, okay, well,
who's behind that newspaper?
Who wrote this and who owns the paper and things. Maybe just think about it a wee bit, because a lot of people are really quick to just kind of read something and go, oh my God, that is now fact. In my mind, this is
because it's in the paper.
Because it's in the paper, but you should research.
No, absolutely, and
why it's there.
Yeah, and I actually think we can tie this all together, because we've been talking about distraction, and there's been so many distractions. In a way, this aliens on the moon thing is a distraction. You know what I mean? Well, it is, isn't it?
So ridiculous. Yes, it is.
It's a bit of fear mongering. I don't think many people take it seriously, but I know there is some people that take it seriously. And, some people that are concerned that our alien overlords are watching us from the moon.
Yes.
But
it's quite egotistical to think that the universe is so vast that a little creature up there has some interest in you.
Maybe they just they're trying to mine the planet for resources.
Oh, right.
Or they want to enslave us. I'm not sure. I haven't read what the recent agenda is, but I'm sure it's something like that. See, I kind of think a lot of the time as well, see, you read things about when military aircraft, top secret aircrafts are being tested, and then the UFO sightings go through the roof.
I wonder why.
My thought has always been, and I know that other people have said this as well, my thought has always been that probably a lot of these sightings, now I've never had a so-called UFO sighting, and I'm not saying none of them are real because I don't know. Yeah. But I think I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of them are just secret government technology being tested, because let's face it, see if I was the government. I mean...
That's terrifying.
I know, it really is.
If I was government.
But of course they're miles ahead of us technologically.
Yeah, of course
they even admit that. Actually, there's an advert that runs on the radio here, and I think it's for the Royal Air Force Reserves, and they say like there's people who can do this in so many seconds and all this, and one of the things they say is they can maintain equipment so advanced most don't even know it exists.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Pretty open.
I mean, wouldn't you be? I mean, of course the government's miles ahead technologically, you know. So that's why I think, you know, a lot of UFOs, but all a UFO is an unidentified flying object. You say UFO.
I see them all the time. I don't know what they are.
You don't know what
They're
it is.
They're probably planes. I imagine.
Exactly. You know what I mean? But that's the kind of weird thing, like how automatically it's aliens. You know, we don't know who built the pyramids. Well, we do know who built them, but we don't know how they were built. Aliens.
Yeah, it has to be aliens.
But there's, and it happens all the time. And it's kind of, I don't know, I suppose it is kind of a shortcut to thinking in a way. I think it's like how some people want to believe in the Illuminati.
Ah.
You know, people talk about the Illuminati as if they're a thing just now, and maybe I'm wrong and they are. I doubt it.
Highly doubt that.
You know, I know they were a thing hundreds of years ago. Yeah. They were a secret society. But I don't know why some people throw themselves heart and soul into this. You know, like, I can't understand it.
I really don't get it, to be honest. When it comes to, like, the Illuminati conspiracy and things like that, I'm kind of on the fence. There's some things, like you, Dan, I'm kind of like, well, there's some unanswered questions here, but there's some things I just go, nah, I'm not even buying it.
But then there's things we know do exist. Like, we know the Bilderberg Group exists. We know the Trilateral Commission and the Council on Foreign Relations exist, because they're real things. So why don't we worry about the real things and not the hypothetical things?
Do you remember when you used to talk about the Bilderberg Group? And before I knew anything, and I used to look at you really funny, and then you were talking about one day Alex Jones and the Bilderberg Group or something.
We're not your slaves.
We're not your slaves. And I said, what does he have to do with the Build-A-Bear? Now, Build-A-Bear is like a thing we have here where you go, it's incredibly sadistic. You bring your child and you purchase bear skin, and then they stuff it.
Not real bear skin.
Well, God, no. And then they stuff the bear skin
and
with innards, and then they dress it how you want, and then the kid leaves with a 40-pound bear.
Do you know who I feel sorry for?
And I used to think that's what the fuck you were talking about when you were talking about Build-A-Bear. I was only half listening.
Like I was standing outside the Build-A-Bear shop going, "We're not your slaves!
We are not your slaves!" Yes, with a big megaphone.
I was doing that.
Anyway, that was a fun side note.
I got confused. But like, that's what I'm saying.
I'm always confused.
But there is real things like that exist.
These round table groups and stuff.
Yeah. And I mean,
of course they do.
And obviously they're influencing foreign policy and stuff, because why else are they meeting? What are they just
meeting for a wee,
to play Twister or
barbecue,
something? Yeah, exactly.
Just get together.
You know what I mean? I don't, because remember they denied the Build-A-Bear, I almost said Build-A-Bear.
We're gonna keep on talking about it as if it's the Build-A-Bear.
Didn't they deny that was a real thing for years until people just were eventually like, look, we know. we're not that stupid. That's what I mean, like how...
It's kind of like how, like, someone in your family never says that they're gay. They just bring their partner to Christmas every year until it's like, we know. I
remember,
we know.
Someone I knew, I won't say who it is in case the person, but someone I knew had a work colleague, who was gay, but because of the weird environment that they worked in, couldn't say it. So he used to always bring his roommate. His
eternal roommate.
Which I think is a bit silly.
Sad?
I mean, who cares?
Isn't it sad that some people need to do that for their job security? I mean, I just think that's so sad in this day and age that...
I mean, I don't care what consenting adults do as long as they don't hurt anyone.
I know. We've kind of covered this before many times, but yeah, I don't really care what other people do.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, and I've been noticing the distractions a lot lately. I mean, we talked a while ago as well about how... Remember the gay marriage debate was quite a massive distraction as well, because we were all arguing over what the word marriage should mean, you know.
Who cares what the word means? I don't give a shit what the word means.
Yes, and that's the thing, and it's everywhere, you know, and you know.
See, once you start realizing these distractions, it's like it's kind of like the glasses from They Live.
Yeah, you start seeing everything.
Yeah, you start seeing it, and you go, "Oh, for fuck's sake, this again."
This shit again.
I mean, it can mess with your mind a bit. So proceed with caution, gentle viewers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Viewers, listeners.
So, your alien overlords are watching you.
They're watching us.
I'm going to look really stupid if we get invaded by aliens.
Do you know what, Dan? If we're invaded by aliens, your stupidity is the last thing on my mind.
Probably, yeah. So, we'll probably have more things to worry about.
Like, they'll come in here and take our jobs and stuff.
The aliens will take our jobs.
Take our jobs!
That'll be these bloody aliens.
These bloody aliens coming in here.
They'll work for peanuts.
They'll work for nothing.
Stealing my job. With their intergalactic death ray. See, unless, right, see with that moon program, right, see, I don't want to call it a documentary. Look,
let's stop.
See, unless they show me a clear picture that has not been photoshopped of a giant death ray trained on the Earth.
Yes.
I'm not going to worry.
Okay.
Personally.
I'm glad.
And one of the guys as well said, he was like, well, I hope our military would be planning a response if they should attack us. You're like, well, I'd be more worried about, wars in the Middle East and stuff.
Actual things that exist.
Yeah. I'd be more concerned in, not doing those wars.
Do you think our government has a contingency plan for an alien invasion?
That's an interesting question. I don't really know.
Can we phone someone and find out? Can you phone the government?
Hello, I'd like to speak to the government,
I'd like the government, please.
No, but then you realise that the government's not a real thing.
It's
just an invention of the human mind.
If I cannot phone it, it does not exist.
Well, hasn't that always been the rule?
Just kidding. Now we're just talking shite.
Yeah.
So, how many times have I said shite in this episode?
Quite a lot, actually.
About 9, maybe?
Yeah.
10? Well. I say it a lot anyway. I just want to be sincere.
Yes. So.
I feel fluey.
Yes, I've noticed. Yeah. So, how do we tie this all up? I don't believe there's aliens on the moon.
There's no aliens on the moon. We are libertarian.
I would like it if conspiracy theory documentaries could have some, science in them. That would be nice.
But isn't that the frustrating thing about these quote unquote conspiracy theories? It's very difficult to actually get evidence because it's all usually kind of...
Oh, it's all hidden or something's...
What's that word when you have something evidence? You have it, but you can't use it. Circumstantial.
Oh, I know what you mean.
It's all circumstantial.
Because some of the it's just because some things don't follow. Basically, you know what I mean? I see something on this picture. It doesn't follow that it's a pipe from a nuclear reactor that's powered by aliens who are going to invade us. Do you know what I mean?
This is a weird show.
This is a weird show.
But, if you like it, and you want to hear more of it, you could go to, greenyightpodcast.co.uk.
Yes. And anyone, on Monday, 8 p.m. UK time. I'm going to be on the UK Libertarian Alliance. I've recently started doing Libertarian Question Time.
Yeah.
I did the first episode last week. You can find it.
You're going to be on with
Sean Gabb, among others. But we're mentioning Sean Gabb because he's been on the show a couple of times. So if you want a wee feel for Sean's work, you can hear him. We've done 2 interviews previously.
You can check out the Libertarian Alliance. I'm going to link it up at the bottom of the show notes.
Yeah, they do good work.
It's a UK based think tank, for libertarian things.
Yeah, I'm going to be on 8 p.m. GMT on Monday.
On Monday, and that's a Google Hangout video.
I believe so, yes.
How do we set up the linkage for that? Is there any way to do that, Dan? Or will we just refer people to the website? Where I'm sure they could find out. People to the
website, yeah.
I will do that in the show notes.
Absolutely.
Anything else we want to talk about, discuss?
Everything I've been thinking about, the moon.
The moon.
The moon. Poverty porn.
The moon, poverty porn.
And it's all just a big fucking distraction.
Yep.
But then we should say what's a distraction from. Well, it's a distraction from war, increasing government control, this massive surveillance state. I can think of many other things we're being distracted from that don't get as much play in the media, not even a little bit. I mean, the media, you do get stories about surveillance and things like that, obviously, but they don't get half as much play as these things like Benefit Street or Angry, White and Proud. They don't get half as much attention.
No, I know. And it's all just a big distraction, but a distraction it may be, but I'm going to link up these distractions at the bottom of the show.
Yes, while you listen to this distraction.
To this distraction that distracts you from whatever you're procrastinating to not do, as I do. So for more libertarian podcast writings and news, you can go to greetingitpodcast.co.uk.
Yes, and thank you so much for listening.
Thank you and good night.